And welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share my review of the Amazing Adventures 2nd Edition Chronicle Keepers Guide from Trollord Games. This is written by Jason Bay, and the 144-page hardcover is available now, carries an MSRP of $29.99, or you can grab just the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. I do want to mention that DriveThruRPG indicates their PDF is 255 pages in length. I honestly don't think that's the case. I'm taking a guess. It's just an incorrect page count, which is something we do see from time to time at DriveThruRPG. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Chronicle Keepers Guide for Amazing Adventures 2nd Edition. A few things to mention before we jump on in. First of all, my friends over at Trollord Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a feel for what you're going to find inside. And then lastly, this is a completely optional volume. So just like Castles and Crusades, the Keepers Guides are optional. Now, having said that, there's a lot of great content in the Chronicle Keepers Guide. So as a game master, you might want to pick this up. And let's dive on in so I can give you a better look inside. All right, first of all, we're going to take a look at the credits page because there were a lot of folks who worked very hard to bring this to life. Got quite a few artists involved also, so let's make sure we give credit where credit is due. All right, so we've got 6 chapters here. First chapter is going to pretty much dive into the player characters. So we get information about the various different classes, which are included in the player's handbook, a little more detail there, and how you would utilize them in adventures. We get some information about creating new classes and actually some discussion. Do you really need to create a new class? Can you just take an existing class and tweak it a bit to better fit the desires of your player? We get information about skills. Now, the SEIGE Engine, which is the system and mechanics which powers both Castles and Crusades and Amazing Adventures, doesn't use skills, but you do have options if you want to utilize skills at your game table. Now, they are relatively abstract, fairly broad, but there are gamers out there who really do miss the aspect of skills as far as Castles and Crusades or Amazing Adventures. So there are rules there if you want to utilize them. Next, we get into magic, and this will detail magic as far as magical spells, magical rituals. We also get into different powers and gadgets, which might provide a magic-like aspects to the game. We also have details about mentalism. So one thing I had pointed out about the Amazing Adventures 2nd Edition Player's Handbook was that it felt a bit more devoted to pulp action like the 1st edition was, and a little less of a sort of genre-less role-playing game system as Trollord Games was presenting this new edition of Amazing Adventures as. So I do appreciate the focus in the Chronicle Keepers Guide of trying to bring various other aspects, various different other genres to the game outside of just that two-fisted pulp action. So I dig that quite a bit. Our 3rd chapter is Astonishing Stories, and this is more filled with kind of optional rules for different things like vehicles. We even have some discussion if you want to turn Amazing Adventures into a LARP. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was pretty interesting. Chapter 4 is Mysteries of the Dark, which is really aimed at game masters for the Chronicle Keepers. And it's how to get the most out of the game and certain tips and tricks, not only as far as how to run it, but how to create adventures for it how to create campaigns, secret societies, utilizing those secret societies at your game table. Then we move into the fifth chapter, which is devoted to various different genres to bring to the table. So, the Wild West, or even the Weird West, horror and different kinds of horror. Maybe you want a Lovecraftian cosmic horror role playing game, or maybe a splatterpunk sort of horror game, cyberpunk, science fiction, science fantasy. We get details and tips towards bringing those genres to your game table. And then the final chapter is kind of focused on secret societies, organizations. We get some examples, such as the Illuminati, and utilizing some of these secret societies in your games, different locations, safe houses, and so forth. So that is a peek inside the second edition of Amazing Adventures Chronicle Keepers Guide. Let's swing on over to the other camera so I can share some final thoughts as well as my review score. Now, you might recall when I reviewed the Player's Handbook for Amazing Adventures second edition, I liked it, I recommended it, but it didn't blow me away. I felt it focused a little too heavily on two-fisted pulp action and pulp adventuring, as opposed to being more of a genreless system as Troll Games was advertising it. I still like it. I still think it's cool. I am a fan of the SEIGE Engine mechanics. But like I said, it didn't blow me away. Now, I will say that the Chronicle Keepers Guide, I like quite a lot more. And the main reason is because it is expanding out from that two-fisted pulp action. And we do get more information about utilizing more of a science fiction genre or horror genre. There's a lot of great information for the game master or Chronicle Keeper as well. And I certainly really do dig that chapter about how to, not only how to run the game, but create adventures and campaigns and various NPCs, monsters, and so forth. So all in all, I really do like the Chronicle Keepers Guide a good amount more than the Player's Handbook, even though this is an optional book. So on a scale of 0 to 10, I give the Amazing Adventures second edition Chronicle Keepers Guide an 8 out of 10. Certainly do recommend it, especially if you're running Amazing Adventures. Probably not so much if you're running Castles and Crusades, although there is some useful information here that's not in the Castle Keepers Guide. But all in all, really liked it, and I found it to be an entertaining read. All right, that is it for this time out. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.